Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Aldi Cycling YouTube channel where today I'm going to be previewing the Velogames Paris-Nice. This is the first round of the Stage Race Championship, so warm-up series done with. This is where the real business kicks off. So of course we've got Paris-Nice today. The star list isn't fully complete yet, so of course there will be some changes, but I'm just going to do this preview now. I don't want to get it out too late for you guys. You need to have enough time to, really formulate your teams. Terrainer will probably be out tomorrow, so watch out for that. Be sure to, maybe drop a subscribe or whatever if you want to be sure to be able to catch that. But let's talk about the riders that we have in Paris-Nice. Of course, the big drama here is that there is Tadej Pogacar and Nice Velogames, and they are hella expensive. They are 28 and 26 points respectively. And the big question really is, are they worth it? I don't think there's any questioning their ability to probably be finishing first and second in this race. But the question really comes with, are they worth their value? When you consider that these guys are going to be taking up 28 points, which is almost a third of your team's budget, and 26, which is about a quarter of your team's budget, are they going to be getting that number of points respective to the team value? So are they going to get a third of your team's points? Are they going to get a quarter of your team's points? When you consider that a lot of people in these competitions get somewhere near 4,000, these guys are going to have to be getting somewhere near 1,000 points, which is going to be quite difficult to do, because when you think about it, let's say in the best case scenario there are 2 mountaintop finishes and then there's also that stage around Nice. Let's say that if they won all 3 of those stages and then they also won GC, so that would be 750 points. Plus some other end of tour points and daily GC, they might get up to 850, maybe 900, and that is a best case scenario, which means that they might not actually be worth it, because it's going to be so difficult for them to perfectly execute this idea that they're going to win everything. So therefore it might be better to look a bit further down. Martinez, for example, just won Algarve. He's a great choice as somebody who might finish on the podium. There's lots of other riders like him. Guys like Simon Yates as well. These guys are going to be arguably better choices because, like we saw, Martinez, he won Algarve. He's a very reliable stage racer, good at time trialling. Although it is a TTT, it must be noted this time round. I know I made that mistake in the UAE Tour. And I think that Martinez is going to be a really good choice. He's going to be the leader for Ineos. Yates did really well in this race last year. He knows how to do well in this race. He almost beat Roglic, let's not forget. Sivakov, I'd say, is probably one of the not good choices of these expensive riders. And also Bardet. Neither of them have shown particularly great form so far this year. I think that I'd avoid those guys. Gaudu, I like. He was looking good, I think, at the Phone Ardèche Classic. He's also surrounded by a bunch of big riders, lots of strong rouleurs like Kung and Genietz and Miles Scottson, for example. So his TTT, I think, will be fine. And I'm looking forward. I think that Gaudu could certainly finish top 5 in this race. In terms of the sprinters, Merlier in theory is the fastest sprinter here. That's why he is more expensive. The sprinters will probably contest stages 1, 2 and 5, although stage 5 does have some hills towards the end, so perhaps Merlier might suffer there. The sprinters, are they going to be worth it? If they're only going to be competing in 3 stages, if they won all 3 of them, that's 450 points. The end of tour points, that's up to 500 points. That's probably more worthwhile. Therefore, is Merlier worth it? Probably yes, but he's going to have to get over those climbs on stage 5, so bear that in mind. Bennett as well suffers from the same problem, but they have a very strong lead out. Arguably, De Lee and Pedersen might be the better choices alongside Michael Matthews, because they will compete in the flat sprints but also in the more versatile sprints. Pedersen and De Lee are my favourites because I think they have more out and out speed on the flat compared to Michael Matthews. Groves is a bit questionable. He never seems to really do that well in terms of fantasy points, which I don't really understand. You've only got a lot of other GC riders. I probably wouldn't pick Foss. He'll be a domestique. Haig, we haven't really seen much of, so I'm apprehensive about him, as I am with Jonas Zagir. These guys just haven't shown the form so far this year. Jorgensen, I think, is a good pick. He should be finishing inside the top 10. He won Oman, looks in super good form, so I think that he's also a really good choice. 10-point riders, you've got Demar as quite a cheap sprinter here at 10, so probably worthwhile noting if you need to save a few credits. Demar would be a good choice over, say, a Merlier or a Bennett, for example. You then also have Jonathan Milan. He could be another versatile sprinter. Wout Poels is a good GC option at 10, alongside Nielsen Paulus and Matthias Skelmos Jensen. I would probably recommend all 3 of these 10-point riders for you. They could all finish inside the top 10. I'm not a big fan of the rest of the 10 pointers. A lot of them are domestiques, which are relatively expensive, so I'd probably avoid them just because they don't have that out and out leadership. 8-point riders, there's a couple of sprinters in here as well. There's Coquard, there's David Decker, Ivan Garcia Cortina. I don't see them really competing that highly in the sprint, so probably not the greatest choice. My favourite 8-point rider, I'm just going to skip down, is Aurélien Palais-Pentler. He seems to be the GC leader for AG2R in this race, considering that Ben O'Connor's in Tirreno, and he's also looked really good recently in the Tour de Alpes Maritime du Var. So Aurélien Palais-Pentler is going to be a great choice. You could also say Christophe Laporte. He was 8 points last year, and you remember that he did really well in this race last year. So Laporte is probably a good one to be going with as well. He'll get those assist points from Jonas, the TTT points as well. So Laporte's quite a safe one. Cantor, another sprinter as well. You got Geschke, Jungels, Luis Leon Sanchez, they're all GC riders, I suppose. Schachmann, of course, has won this race twice, and yet he's 8 points. I know that his form has been off so far this year, but you have to remember that this guy has cost somewhere near 20 credits in this race in the past, so don't just pass over him at 8. I reckon he's worth thinking about, because he could certainly launch a surprise. He could be very undervalued here, and I think that a lot of people could quite easily skip over him. Vauquelin has been in good form, but I'm not sure if any of the stages particularly suit him too much, so therefore I don't think he's that great of a choice. Wellens might get his own freedom like he did in the Route del Sol, but more than likely I expect him to be working for Pogacar. Fred Wright, again, sort of similar to Vauquelin, suffers in the fact that there isn't that much terrain which suits him massively. Weirdly enough, Fred Wright, the stage which might suit him best is that stage around Nice, which is kind of weird to say considering that he's more of a rouleur type. 6-point riders, you've got Affini for the assist points but also the TTT points. Asgreen has climbed pretty well, and also Quickstep don't have a climber in this race, so guys like Asgreen might have their own chances inside of the breakaway. Clément Berthet, he finished 16th in GC in UAE Tour, so a bit of an outside GC option there. Bjerg for the assist points on Pogacar. Kalmajan's looked pretty decent so far this year. Not brilliant, but certainly worthwhile if you want somebody to finish maybe top 20 in GC, for example. Omar Fraile, he won a stage at the Route del Sol. Kobe Kosens, he's had an outstanding year so far, and I think at 6 points that's quite a good bargain pick. So probably one of the better 6-point riders, I think, is Kobe Kosens, certainly worthwhile thinking about. Jonathan Navarez, possibly. He's usually in pretty decent form this time of year. I think my favourite 6-point rider is Hugo Page. We saw just how good he was sprinting at the Tour Down Under and at the Dauphiné last year. I think that he's going to have the green light to go sprinting in this race and could certainly compete in a few stages. So 6 points on Hugo Page is brilliant value. I would strongly recommend you put Hugo Page onto your teams. There's also the Ineos boys of the Swifts and Tarling. I think they'll probably get some decent assist points, but Martinez won't be lighting up the world, let's face it, so maybe not worthwhile banking on the assist points from Ineos. More than likely better going with Jumbo or UAE riders like Nathan van Hooijdonk, for example. He would be quite a good one. Taco might be good if things get a little bit sketchy in the crosswinds, for example. He's quite good at these. The best 4-point rider is Pavel Bittner. Without a doubt, he is going to be the sprinter, I think, for DSM. I don't think they'd go with Degenkolb. Bittner finished, I think, 5th place in a sprint on that first stage in Algarve. So Bittner, absolutely the best option in the 4-point category. Outside of him, there aren't too many which I really like the look of. You maybe got Mason Holliman as a climber for Israel. I think that they'll have the green light to really go into lots of breakaways and try their own chances. And then outside of them, there really aren't too many that I like the look of, in all honesty. Harry Sweeney, possibly. He's shown some decent form so far this year, but like not outstanding. And that's about it, really. I just don't think that there are that many great 4-pointers. I'd probably say maybe Julien Bernard. He does get in the breakaway quite a bit in these French races, so possibly him as well. But outside of that, maybe just throw a bit of a win in there on somebody who you think might go in a breakaway, or try get assist points from other riders. At the moment, this is the team that I have. You will notice that it has no Pogacar or no Vingegaard in there. I quite like this team. It's very nicely spread out the points. You got only a couple of 6-pointers in there, and I think you have maybe in Skelmoser, Paulus, APP, Simon Yates, Martinez and Jorgensen. That's 6 riders who I think could finish inside the top 10. Then you got sprinters in Dali and Page, and then Kobe Kosins is a bit of a wild card rider to maybe do okay in GC as well. But let me know what you think in the comments down below of my team, and also be sure to put your teams down there as well so I can have a look as to what you're all thinking. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Salut!